Hey guys, what's going on? Jebb here, and today we're going to be talking about the cryptocurrency markets, and we're also going to be doing a little bit of technical analysis on the Bitcoin chart. I'm going to be laying out the case for why a bull run in Bitcoin may be about to start. I'm going to be talking about the levels of resistance and the levels of support that are going to be very important for that to happen. And I'm also going to be talking about what we are going to need to see in the market itself to actually see a bull run start and form in cryptocurrency, because honestly I think we're overdue for one. We've had a very quick, very strong retracement in Bitcoin, and I think we are overdue for a bull run. We're going to be talking about that and more in today's video, but if you enjoyed the video, you should definitely think about dropping a like and subscribing, because I make a lot of cryptocurrency videos, so why don't you do it? It's free. That button is free to click. Yeah. So let's get right into it. Bitcoin is currently trading just over $7,000. The market capitalization is back over $120 billion. It's up 2.96% on the day. We can see in our nice little charts here that the entire market is rising just a little bit. We can see in our little 7-day price graphs here on CoinMarketCap. Nice handy little things. Most of the markets bottomed out a couple days ago, and they're seeing a little bit of increase, a couple percentage here and there. Some coins are doing really well. Populous did pretty well. Back here, Steam did really well about 6 days ago. I think Ontology did really well. I can't seem to find it here. Ontology did really well. Yep, Ontology was up like 70% a couple days ago. A lot of the coins are doing pretty well. Bitcoin's dominance is still at 45%. We've been hovering right around exactly 45% for almost a month now. We had a little bit of a run up to 45%, and now ever since that initial run in the Bitcoin dominance to 45%, we've just been kind of hovering here, as you can see on the chart here. Let's zoom into 3 months so you can really see this. The Bitcoin dominance started rising back here from lows. Let's see if that will want to load. I don't think it's going to. There we go. As you can see here, Bitcoin's dominance was sitting right around 33% back here, back in January, and it's continued to rise and kind of plateau up here at right around 45%. I was hoping for that to continue and continue like a little bull run, if you will, in the Bitcoin dominance, and see a lot of the volume and a lot of the valuation move from the altcoins into Bitcoin, so that Bitcoin could get its feet back under it and start a bull run. And then if Bitcoin starts a bull run, then that will bring the altcoins with it. It's not very often that you see the altcoins just explode and then Bitcoin have a run because of that. Normally the altcoin run is about a month delayed behind Bitcoin. We saw this in early January when Bitcoin's all-time high was like right around Christmas, and about mid-January is when Ethereum topped out. The market capitalization is under $280 billion. We saw a double bottom at $280 billion a little while ago, or actually this formed for quite a while. We did see a double bottom right around, I think it was like $286 billion. Let's see if we can see it here. Yep. That's one of the bottoms back here in mid-March, 280. And back over here we had a bottom right around 280. I can't get it right there, but you'll just have to trust me. There we go, 279. And sadly, we've dropped below that. Right now we're kind of bottoming out right around 250. That's also a pretty strong level of support. It looks like we have a little shorter term double bottom here, but it's not great that we broke that. It would have been nice to stay above $280 billion. Let's see if there's anything else I want to say here. Okay, one thing I wanted to say was that Tether is up a little bit. It was up like 0.14%. And I'm not trolling you, that's actually something that you can take an indication from. I know Tether is supposed to be a stable coin, and when you see Tether going up in price, that means a lot of people are selling Tether, so it's raising the value of Tether, and if they're selling Tether, what are they selling Tether into? They're selling it into altcoins and cryptocurrencies. So you can actually use that as a bit of an indicator. If Bitcoin's or if Tether's going down in price, that probably means that people are taking positions out of their altcoins and out of Bitcoin and putting it into Tether, into a stable coin, so that they can buy back in the dips. And when you see a little bit of a tiny spike in price on Tether, that probably means they're selling their Tether and they are putting it into altcoins. So let's get into the Bitcoin technical analysis portion of the video. I'm going to be talking about several different trend lines. I say this at the beginning of every single video, but I'm going to go ahead and establish 2 trend lines that are very important. I say this in like literally every single video, but we're going to do it again because this is very important, especially for you guys who are new here. The two trend lines that I want you guys to be familiar with so that you have context for this video is this one right here. As you can see, we have a very nice long-term downtrend. We had 2 touches right up here to establish it. One at 20,000, one at 17,000, and then we had another down here at 11.7, and we've been trading around it for the last month and a half or so. The other trend line I want you to see is the long-term uptrend. Let's go out here to 4 hours so you can see it a little bit better. That's laggy. Come on. There we go. Oop, I didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry. So the other trend line I want you to see is this long-term uptrend. We have like the pivot point down here at 1800. We have it established here at 3000. We had a touch on it back here on February the 6th. We plummeted down and touched it and had a very strong rebound off of it. A lot of people thought this was the bottom. I still think this was the bottom, but sadly we kind of fell over. The market kind of fell over with the double top up here. And the reason I wanted to define both of those is because both of those trend lines are very important right now. This trend line that Bitcoin is trying to get, or is currently getting resistance at, this long-term uptrend, is the exact trend line that I just showed you. That is the long-term uptrend. We're testing this as resistance right now. This is going to be a very important level of resistance that we're going to see Bitcoin try and test over the next 24, 36, 48 hours. We're going to see if we can get back above this. If we can get back above this trend line and get nice, strong support on it, that would be a very good indication for a coming bull run. This long-term downtrend right here, this is the long-term downtrend I established. We got a little bit of support on it. We're above this trend line. It's kind of funny, guys. This is actually kind of humorous. For a long time, we've been below this long-term downtrend and above this long-term uptrend, and now we're below the long-term uptrend and above the long-term downtrend. We've flipped places with both of these trend lines. But we're back above this long-term downtrend. It's easier to get through this long-term uptrend. And I know I'm kind of throwing terms around here, but it's easier to get above this long-term uptrend, the one that, the uptrend. It's easier to get above that because it's a more shallow angle. It's only at like 10 degrees, I mean, depending on how you put your chart. But the fact is, it's quite a bit more shallow than this other trend line, so it's not as, staying below it is going to be easy. It's going to be easier to get above that. As you can see, we did get above it for a little while, but we got resistance here at this other trend line I've drawn here. We had a touch, or a pivot point up here at 11.6. We had a touchdown here, and then we had another touchdown here. Thankfully, we're back above that. Also, we've seen a couple little price climaxes in the last couple of days. I've seen some other YouTubers talk about this. If we go in here to like 5 minute, you can really see these pretty well. You can see we had a nice little one right here. We were just trading sideways. Had a nice little price spike, trading sideways, nice little price spike. Had a little bit of sell-off, nice little price spike up here. And a lot of people are talking about what that is. That's probably institutions buying, guys. That's probably institutions buying, because right now is a pretty good time to buy Bitcoin, in my personal opinion, for a long-term stance. A lot of institutions don't really trade on the very short term. They're not going to trade over the couple of days if they're like if they're like fund managers or something. They very well may do that. But a lot of institutions tend to buy and hold for much longer. So what I think a lot of these big green candlesticks, like this one right here, maybe not that one, but some of these back here, are more than likely big institutions buying a bunch of Bitcoin, and they're just going to hold on to it for a couple of years. That's what I'm doing right now, and that's what you might want to be doing right now, because right now Bitcoin is very, very low compared to the all-time high. The all-time high is up around $20,000. We're retraced right around 65% from that, guys. Let's keep this in perspective. I like to talk about perspective a lot on the channel, so let's have a little side tangent into perspective for a second. Bitcoin has never had a quicker, more severe pullback in its entire history, barring everything before 2012, because percentage moves back then. It was much more volatile back then. But Bitcoin went from $20,000 to $6,000. That's over a 66% retracement. That is a 70% retracement if we use big even numbers. That's a 70% retracement in the span of about 2.5 months. As you can see, our all-time high was up here right around the 16th of December, and then our bottom out here at $6,000, our flush, was on the 6th of February. So in about 2 months, we retraced 70%. Guys, the really long-term downtrend, if we come out here to the day chart so we can actually see this, the really long-term bear market that we all are hoping we're not about to go into again, this bear market from $1,200 down here to about $200, that was an 80% retracement. It was about 83% retracement if you use the actual numbers, and it took over a year. So it was just a little bit more severe, but it took over 3 times as long. Close to about, actually it was about a year and a half, depending on which one of these bottoms you want to use. This was kind of a double bottom right here. The market, it was a bad market, but we kind of fell off very slowly. So one thing that we want to keep in mind is that we've had a very, very bad bear market. We've had, well, bad is subjective. We've had a very, very bearish bull market, or bearish bull market. We've had a very bearish market. We've retraced many, many dozens of percent very, 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 very quickly. So it seems like the market's moving slowly. It's really not. It's moving very quickly, guys, and I still think there's room for a bull run in 2018. Now let's get to some levels of resistance that we're going to need to see to break if we want to have that bull run in the year of 2018, which I definitely think is still possible. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I think it is absolutely still possible. Some levels of resistance that we're going to see here is right up here, right around $9,000. $9,000 was a big trading point. We saw a lot of support up here. We saw some support right here. We saw some resistance right here. We saw resistance over here. If you take this number back, you also see some support right over here. $9,000 is going to be a big level, and also if we bust out Fibonacci, I can tell you by looking at the chart right now that right around $9,000 is going to be 50% retracement from where we are right now. As you can see, 0.5 on the Fibonacci retracement is right around $9,000. So that's something else you want to keep in mind. We have two big levels of resistance right at $9,000 that we're going to need to break through. We kind of have a little double top. You could argue that's a little baby double top right here at 9,000. We have the 50% Fibonacci retracement level, and we also have the big even that is 9,000 with a couple of levels of resistance and support to establish that. That's going to be the big level that I'm looking at as we try and start a bull run here. If we can break above this long-term uptrend, we might see enough momentum, we might see enough institutions buying that could potentially happen. The next really big one, obviously, is right around $11,500, where we have this double top up here. That's going to be a big important level. If we triple top up there, that would be really bad. We do not want that to happen. Also, since we're talking about levels of resistance, it is important to bust out the log scale here for a second and draw another trend line that a lot of you guys may not be familiar with. What the log scale is it switches the scale from a linear scale to a percentage-based scale, so that it switches the scale so that you can see the chart based off percentage moves. So from here to here is right around a 70% retracement. But if you were to go from $20 to $7, then it would look about the same on the chart. That's basically all it is. So if we come here to a trend line, then we can see that there's also another trend line here on the log scale that we want to keep in mind. This long-term downtrend on the log scale is also going to be important resistance. It's kind of similar to that long-term downtrend I showed you on the linear chart just a few minutes ago. We're also going to be seeing resistance at this. Inevitably, we're going to come up here and touch this. More than likely, that's going to happen in the next month or month and a half. We want to make sure that we want to bust through that. That's an even stronger level of resistance. It's also you can argue whether that's a really strong level of resistance or not, because a lot of people don't look at that, and Bitcoin is still heavily dominated by individual investors, and individual investors don't typically look at log scales. If we were in the stock market or something, that might be a stronger downtrend, but that is something to keep in mind. And of course, we kind of have two tops up here right around 17,000. And then, of course, we have the all-time high up at $20,000 that we're going to need to bust through. There's a lot of other levels you can draw, guys. If I brought out the Fibonacci retracement here, TradingView is being silly. If I bring out the Fibonacci retracement level, then you'll see that the 38.2% is also on this double top. That's part of the reason that double top formed. We also have the 50% retracement, which is right around $11,000, or sorry, $13,000. And then we also have a Fibonacci level right here, right around $17,000. So there's a lot of levels of resistance, guys. If Bitcoin starts a bull run, I'll definitely be keeping you up to date as the bull run continues. I'm not saying for a fact that we are at the bottom. This little tiny thing right here does not indicate hardly anything in the grand scheme of things. But I think there are some things that could be happening in the next couple of weeks that could indicate the beginning of a bull run. And surely, I think we can all agree that we are overdue for one, guys. I'm getting very tired of a bear market. My channel has existed for the majority of this bear market, and I would love to see the market do some more interesting things than just kind of taper off and peter off and die. That would be very interesting for me. It'd be very interesting for you guys. But if this video was interesting for you guys, do you like that transition? Then you should definitely think about leaving a like and subscribing, because I make a bunch of cryptocurrency videos. But anyway, guys, if you want to learn to trade cryptocurrency videos, there's a lot of stuff on that on my channel. If you want to start trading cryptocurrency, you can also sign up for Binance. There will be a link to that in the description and a pinned comment in the top of the comment section. It is my favorite exchange. It is the exchange I personally use. If a coin's not on Binance, I'm probably not going to buy it, because if Binance doesn't see the value in it, I don't either. Big shill for Binance. I really like Binance. But anyway, guys, that's going to be it for this video. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.